I'm going to treat you as though you just saw the plan. Now, when all of us saw the plan, we had a lot of different responses to it. Some were more positive than others, some were more naive than others. When some of us took a look at the plan, we didn't see the full picture. I think that maybe the first thing you and I have to come to realize is that we were demonstrated, we were presented, we were offered a place on a team and a group of people that were willing to share with us the greatest opportunity in existence today. And I totally believe that. I 100% believe that. You come with the idea of, okay, I want to make some money. And all that is just money is just a means of exchange. It's not good or bad or evil. Some people say, well, money is evil. No, it's just plastic. And so what has happened is you, for whatever reason, came to look at an opportunity because someone you know or maybe someone you just met invited you to see this. And with that anticipation, curiosity, maybe some doubts, some reservations, you came and sat down and took a look at something that was different than most of the things you take a look at. And some of you are so new and maybe taking some of this on faith. And some of you sitting here today might even be here because your spouse has anticipation or faith or belief that this is the answer to your financial destiny. But you're sitting here thinking, this isn't going to work. I'm going to put up with this today, and hopefully we can get out of here and get rid of this thing. And one guy said, okay, I want to try this only because that way we can get it over with, and then we both know it won't work. And of course, they're triple diamonds today, but very successful in the business. But anyway, let's take a look at what you actually have in your hands. When you look at the opportunity and the expectation of the opportunity, when someone came to you and offered for you to sit down, they offered you an opportunity to register with a concept, with a product line, with a code of ethics, with a package, a business in itself. And all it is an opportunity because by itself it does nothing. Sometimes people will go and look at a business and they'll look at a prospectus and you pay this much money and you get a building and equipment and inventory and you set up a staff. And there's a certain amount of value after you've spent the money, not near as much as you've invested. And we can pick a McDonald's or we can pick a traditional type of business, some kind of store, electronic store. And so you go and you take a look and you think, all right, great. And so you put money and time and energy into this project. But the first thing you have to do is get your money back, isn't it? You might invest $10,000 or $50,000 or $100,000, and most likely you didn't have that in your pocket and you didn't have that in your bank account, so you might have gone and borrowed the money. And so you now own this business with the bank, and the bank isn't going to be participating in the development of that business. They're going to be a silent partner unless you don't pay them, and then they become a very unsilent partner. And so there's this pressure. You have to go the next day and open it up at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning and do whatever your business does for as many hours as you can do it, because right away you're developing and trying to make the money back that you've invested. And then get to a point in which the business is paying. But in reality, part of what that business is paying is for the time that you're putting into it to make the business work. And so when people look at traditional businesses, they're evaluating that. Can I first off, do I have enough money to buy it, or can I get enough money to buy it? And then do I know enough? Have I got enough knowledge, experience to do this? Do I want to do this? Do I want to spend however many hours it's going to take to open this business and operate it every single day? And so when you look at traditional business, it's looked at differently because it's going to require money and time, knowledge, a tremendous amount of input on your part with no guarantee that you will ever make your investment back, let alone enough money to be able to live comfortably. Now, the expectation is there. That's why people buy businesses. They want more control of their time. They want to have the opportunity to be able to do great things that would go way past what an employer would be willing to pay us. I was always brought up as an employee. When I was 9 years old, I got my first job, but it was actually the closest I was at any time to a business. I had a paper delivery business. I had accounts that I developed, and I would deliver papers to them in the morning before I went to school, and then I would go around once a week and collect from those customers of mine that I've been delivering papers to I had a certain amount that I had to pay for the papers. I got a certain amount that I collected, and the difference was mine. And I didn't look at how much time it actually took. 30 cents an hour. But it was my first work, and after that I started working for other people, and I had a number of jobs when I was going through school, and then I decided that the only way to really get ahead would be to actually go to college, to a university, and get a degree so that I would get a much bigger pay package. And so I did, and I graduated, and I got a busboy job in a restaurant, which wasn't anywhere close to what my degree was in, but pretty soon I was able to work right into my major. I majored in psychology and sociology, and I was able to become a bartender and apply my degree right away. And then I became a pizza cook, and then a manager, and then at 26 years old, I was a general manager. But I was selling my time to someone else who was making a profit from my time. And I knew deep down inside I wanted to own my own business. But by this time, I was working so many hours, and even with a part-time job to help supplement my income, I was still broke. And so when I came to look at the opportunity that all of us have seen or are participating in, I wasn't seeing a great big picture. My hopes and my expectations had been shrunk down to reality. And all I could see was maybe I could make a couple $100 from this business a month. And I looked at it much like the paper route. I would have a few customers, and they would purchase things, and I would make a small profit, but it would supplement my income. And it was the start of my own business. I remember when I registered, and when I registered, I got this little box of information and materials and some sample products and stuff like that, which was really interesting. And I remember setting them out on a table, and I just kind of put everything out and kind of made it my own little display. And there for about $100 was a business. When I looked at that, I actually sat there and probably more. Dreamt and had great thoughts about where this was going to go, but nothing more than $200. I didn't see any great expectation. I didn't see what this business really had to offer. Though I sat through a presentation by that time 4 times, and you would think that I would see something bigger than that, because Dwight Smith, when he demonstrated this business, he explained how great the opportunity was, but even he had no idea. I mean, you take a look for a second. What are you being offered? Well, let's see. Let's just take the price away for just a second, the cost of registration. Let's just take a look at what the business has to offer. There's a variety of different products that are manufactured by the company, and at the same time, along with that, they contract and develop a relationship with other companies to put their products in the catalog and onto a e-commerce site. And then they have partner stores that are willing to put so much into the bonus if we refer people to them and so forth. So there's thousands of products, and I don't even know what the number is available, but there's a bunch. And if I said to you how many, I probably could get as many answers as there are people in the room. And nobody has counted it. I don't think anybody actually knows for sure how many products that we can guesstimate, and because they're changing and there's additions going on all the time, there are replacements going on, so it's very difficult to tell. But we can concentrate on maybe 1,000 products, which is pretty good. What is it when you go to a company that makes a product, pick any company, any single product, and you say to them, I would like to buy the marketing rights for this product in the entire country. What do you think that they would charge for that? Would a franchise or some kind of agreement to give you marketing rights so that you could market their product in every part of the country and have the ability to be able to open up outlets or extensions of your immediate marketing to other individuals and collect an income from them, and have them take all the orders, fill the orders, guarantee the product, ship the product, and give you the money? What would you say that a business would say to that? Probably, you've got to be kidding. Right? But let's say they put a price tag on it. How much would it be? Would they do it for $100? No, probably not. Now, what if we took 2 manufacturers, or 3, or 4, or 5, or 10, or 20, or 30, and said to all of them, okay, we'd like to have all of you collectively go through one ordering process. We will refer people to the process. They will buy from you. You will fill the orders. You will deliver them. You will guarantee them, and you will send us the money. What kind of deal do you think they would work with you on that? Or maybe this. Maybe go and say, instead of multiple products, just say one product, but instead of one country, say, I'd like to have marketing rights for both Australia and New Zealand, the Pacific Rim, Central America, South America, North America, including Canada and the United States, all of Europe basically, East and West Europe, and parts of South Africa and Asia. What would you say that they would agree to there? $100? Or what if not 100 companies or 1,000 companies, but tens of thousands of manufacturers came to an agreement with one source that offered you the opportunity to market a product, a service, or an idea into tens of thousands, even the millions of products around the world for one price, $100, or whatever the figure is. Because there is no other opportunity in the world that offers that. You can't, there is no competitor. Person says, well, I'd like for you to take a look at my business. I can guarantee you their opportunity is not as good as the one you have already in your hands. Now, they can say all kinds of different things. They can say, well, this is ground floor. Well, okay. If you're adding products, either in country or because you've registered worldwide and you have opportunities to expand and extend your business all over the world, in the last 2 months, we added about 8,000 to 9,000 products to the North American outlet, which you've registered for marketing rights to. If you have a contact or an individual you know in the United States and they get started and you develop your business to 21% and they develop their businesses to the same level, what happens is there's a check that's sent to you every month on the volume that they do. That's a pretty good deal, considering you might not ever go there other than to visit Disney World or Vegas or a number of other nice places, but you might see them casually, but they were actually just a contact of yours, but yet you can tap their volume, and we just added thousands of products to the product list in which you have access to get a percentage of. What's that worth? And is there any other business in the world that is offering you that at any price? Most businesses don't even guarantee their product. And if they do guarantee it, they make it very difficult to get your money back. There's no buyback rules. Most companies don't have buyback rules. Most businesses have limitations. Say, okay, we're only going to let you have so much business width-wise or so much business depth-wise, and our business goes forever. There's nobody that's come along and said, okay, you cannot open up any more outlets to your business personally, and we're only going to pay down to maybe 8 levels of business in this country. No, they don't say that. It can go anywhere. So you have an unlimited opportunity as far as the size of your business is concerned. You have an unlimited opportunity as to the number of goods and services and countries and territories you have. It just virtually goes all over the world. And all of that is a tremendous package. And then, of course, we and ourselves have band together, and all of us in this room participate in helping each other have a better business. We take days out each month and we work together, whether it be at an open opportunity meeting or a seminar or a major meeting that takes all weekend, where there are several people who have experienced and succeeded in the endeavor in which you are participating in, and we share our thoughts and our plans and our strategies. We work together, and we call that a system. And I don't know how many businesses have come to me and say, you know what about our business? We don't have any system. As though that's a positive. And I think, how in the world does an individual who has had no previous experience get from zero to wherever they want to go without any help? I mean, they could fumble their way to it, but wouldn't you think it would probably take longer? And would it possibly be that they couldn't get as far along on the road? They wouldn't be as successful? So when somebody tells me, okay, we're not going to provide you with any help, and we have a limitation to how many people you can work with, or how much volume you can be credited with, or how many products you can have, or what territory you're going to have, or whether we're going to guarantee the product or establish a relationship with you as a business owner with a buyback rule. And they say those things, and then they expect that that's a better opportunity because it's ground floor. I have a tendency of looking at it and thinking, you know what? That's scary. I'm good at what I do, but you've put so many limitations. Why would I give up all of the availability, all the opportunity that I have in this enterprise to even look at another one, unless I could just buy it and not participate in it? So I take the money that I make from this business, and I started, 25, actually almost 30 years ago, and I started investing in other businesses. Some people say, well, I don't need any other business. That's fine. You can take all that money and do whatever you want, because nobody has predetermined what you're going to do with your dreams. It's up to you. Expectations are big. And if your dreams are big, and you're willing to learn, you're willing to be a student in the greatest opportunity available in the world, you're ready to get going. So let's get going. What do you do first? Where do you start? Well, let's first off, welcome to the business. And you're already prepared, you're here, you're taking notes. So if you were brand new and you were going to get started, what would be the first thing that you would want to do? Well, the first thing that I recommend is to sit down and write down what it is you want the business to provide for you. If money and time were no longer an object, if you could be the most successful person in this business ever, what would you do with the results? Would you pay off your debts? Would you fix some things around the house? Maybe put an addition on? Maybe some of you would like to hire a housekeeper or a maid or a cook or all of the above. Some of you would just say, hey, you know what? I just change homes. Some of you would think about having a bigger home in a different location that might have a better view or more advantages. Or maybe you just want to have a place out where you can see the city but not hear the city. Or maybe you'd like to be in the city and be able to see the country. Maybe you'd just like to have a place on the water. Maybe it'd be a lake or a river or an ocean. I mean, you've got plenty of choices there. Or just maybe you just like to have multiple homes because you have multiple moods. And you wake up in the morning and you think, today I think we're going to our oceanfront home, our beach home. Or maybe today we're going to fly to Sydney in our penthouse apartment in downtown Sydney. Or maybe you're going to go out to your ranch and you fly into some community and you get your truck and you drive to the front of your property and go through your front gate and know you only have another 20 or 30 miles to go to get to the house. Maybe you'd like a houseboat or a yacht, cruiser. Maybe you just like to have a whole string of boats, kind of like the mood you have with the house, and say, today I feel like a sailboat, tomorrow I feel like skiing. Maybe it's a vehicle that turns you on. Some people, they just really like the speed. They would like to have a fast automobile that's really sleek and cool. I saw the new Maseratis, and they're just, and when you step on the gas, it's just your head kind of flies back, and that's why they call it a Porsche. You know that, right? You step on a Porsche gas pedal and it goes Porsche. Maybe you like a good, solid four-wheel vehicle. Maybe even import one of those Humvee 2s, the Hummers. Maybe you like just having money in your pocket, just to be able to reach in your pocket and not have to worry. So the first thing you need to do is kind of decide, all right, where's my starting point? What are some things I would like to have in the next year, in the next 2 years, or the next 5 years? I would do this. I would sit and write, and I would get a spiral notebook or some kind of book that you can start writing and just number until you have 100 dreams written down. Don't ease up on your thought process. Just keep every day entering and finding more things to have and do and experience and be. Why? Because by having those things, you can look at them and they are the reasons why you would do something that might be a little bit outside your comfort zone. Or maybe for some of you, a lot outside your comfort zone. Now look at those things and look at that 100 different things you'd like to do and accomplish in your life. Wouldn't it be great to sit down and say, okay, someday, I'm going to climb the Eiffel Tower. And be young enough when you make that goal to actually do it. Or I'd like to have dinner in Venice. Or I would like to take a cruise around the world. Expectations. I'd like to have a home that would make Tom and Karen Alvesgard's home look like a guest house. I would like to be able to take off in my own yacht and not come back home for 2 years, whatever. Because, your expectations, it's your life. You're only going to live it once. And of course, we have to keep our priorities right. But the reality is this, it is possible. So if you don't write them down, if you don't think about them, they don't exist. Because a man can only achieve what he can conceive and believe. The second thing is, what are you willing to do? Now, what are you willing to do? How many nights or days or hours in a month are you willing to put towards this list of 100 dreams? or any one of the dreams independently. What are you willing to do? What are you willing to invest? What are you willing to commit to in time, money, and energy? And while you're on the commitment question, what are you willing to give up? And people go, whoa, wait a second. What do you mean give up? I wasn't planning on giving anything up here. Well, if you occupy 24 hours a day, in which I think everyone in this room did yesterday, I know I did. I didn't have any minutes left over. Did anybody have any time left over I could borrow? Because I need some for tomorrow. No, we used all 24 hours. And the difference between a rich person, a prosperous person, a person who's achieved their dreams, and a person who's accomplished nothing is how they worked with those 24 hours, what they did with those 24 hours. The difference between a rich person and a pauper is how they spent their time. And so what you're willing to give up or change is going to make the difference. So for example, if you were watching television every night last month, and you aren't willing to give up watching television some nights next month, there's a good chance that the 100 dreams will take a long, 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 long time, if at all. You see, most of us, what we would like is we'd like to have everything we have and everything we'd want to have. And the result in that thought process is we end up with nothing. It's interesting because you've all seen those cute little monkeys. You know, they call them spider monkeys. They have long arms and little tiny bodies, and there's absolutely cute, just cutesy faces. Okay, and they'll eat a banana by shoving the whole thing in their mouth at one time. And you think, how did they get that whole banana in that little head? But they're cute, and you know how they catch those little monkeys? Out in the wild where they exist, they use a clear glass bottle. And what they do is they put the favorite treat of the monkey in the bottle, and the bottle is actually tied to a tree or a stump. And so the monkey comes along, can see it, and is intelligent enough to figure out that they can actually squeeze their fingers together and then put their hand into the bottle, and they reach and they grab that treat. Now they have a fist. The difficulty is with the fist, they can't get their hand back out of the bottle. And as smart as that little monkey is, it cannot figure out that if it lets go of the treat, it can have its freedom. And sometimes human beings have the same problem. They have their hands on a little tiny treat of watching television or snoring after supper in the easy chair or playing some weekend sport, and they think, I'm not letting this go. This is it, you know. I mean, rugby's important to me, and they're holding on to that thing and they won't let it go. They could own a rugby team if they'd let the thing go. So commitment is an important step in the 8-step pattern to your business success. The first, obviously, is to decide what it is you want to have. Set your dreams, set your goals, when you want to have them. The second is what are you willing to do and what are you willing to give up? Now, let's start making a list of names. And with that list of names, at first, what I do is I say to person, just for the next couple of days, just take a pad of paper and just write down every name you can think of. We'll organize it when we get back together again. So just start writing names down. Now, when I sit down with an individual, what I do is I say, okay, from the list you already have and from the names you haven't thought of yet, what I'd like for you to do is start with by category. Because we're going to build an organization of teams, a group of teams, and anywhere from 3 to 9 of them to start off with, and they're going to be based on a category of people. For example, let's start with your family. I want you to list everybody in your family that's 15 years old or older. And some of you are going, well, wait a second, they're actually not old enough to register. I understand, but they will be in 3 years. And I do think that we'll probably be existing in 3 years. Let me ask you a question. How many of you are 29 years old or younger? Can I see your hands? Okay, all of you didn't exist when I started the business. A little hard to have you on my list. But what I have found as I've gone along is I have had relatives that were 6 years old, 10 years old, cousins and nieces and nephews, and I found that they weren't on my list because they were too young to participate in the business, and now they're grown up and married and have kids themselves and are in other people's groups. So may I recommend, at least for your initial list, to put 15 and older on your list. And then as many as you can. You have to have at least 5 for us to go on to the next category. 10 is good. If you got a bigger list than that, that's great. So 5 to 10 on each one of these lists is going to be important. Then we go to the next list, and I usually take close friends. These are the people, you know them, you know their phone numbers, you know their kids, they know your kids, and if you're going to go on a holiday, if you're going to have a party, this is the group that you're going to invite for sure. And these are friends. And this won't be a very big list. It might be 5 to 10 close friends. Don't necessarily have to be friends, do they? They don't necessarily come over all the time. You know them, you see them, you wave at them, you talk to them if you're walking down the street, or if you're in an apartment complex, you know of them, and you might know their names. They're more sometimes acquaintances. They could be doubled up on your friends list. They could be doubled up on your family list. But you're making another list just for neighbors that cover the area in which you live. Then you have your co-workers. Those are the people that you work with at your current job. Now you can subdo this list, because how many of you have had 2 or more jobs with different employers and different work colleagues in your life? Can I see your hand? Okay, most of you. All right, so the result is that you would have more than one list. And then you have your list, I title this one School. And this could be you when you went to school, or if you are going to school, or if your children are going to school. And this would include teachers, this would include the parents of your children's friends, this would include, if you're going to school, other students in your class from previous classes you've had. And some of you went to a school and there was like 500 in your graduation class, and you didn't know all of them personally, but there's going to be at least 5 or 10 you can pull off that list and make another list. Another list of the people who serve you, your doctor, your solicitor, your dentist, your mailman, where you buy your petrol, all of those different people that you see, and they take care of you in some way. They do something and you relate to them. Hairdresser, hairstylist, manicurist, masseuse. All these different types of people are people that you have contact with, and they would go under this category. Can they be a friend? Yes. Can they be a relative? Yes. And obviously there will be some duplication, but for the most part, we're taking on another category. Then we have the people that are what I would call from your past. I just write the word past because these would be people that you've known can maybe come from one or more of these categories, but you haven't seen them in a long time, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years. And their name and phone number, name and contact information goes on my list. Then you have people to meet. Now, these are people that you see, but you don't know. And you usually can't write their names down because you don't know who they are. But this is somebody that you know pretty regularly. For example, a name that all of you know in this room is, and you can write it down as Prime Minister, because it does change. And their job isn't very secure, because I've seen just in my experience in Australia a number of people that have fulfilled that position. You know them. You currently know where they're at. And so you can see when they have a job change and a career move that they might be interested in looking at an opportunity. You can go to the Prime Minister, you can go to a whole group of people that you can see. They might not know you, and you wouldn't believe how many times somebody has actually written, called, or introduced themselves at some kind of event to an individual that they knew was in a very important, prestigious position, and said, "Let me ask you a question. Do you ever look at business ideas?" And how many times those people say yes, and would be very interested in sitting down with you to find out what your idea is. And so there is a group of people out there that are people to meet that you know of, and you can just make a list of them. And then there's a list that doesn't exist yet that you will now take on as you start expanding your business, as you meet new people. And that list will become your biggest and largest and most effective list in the future. You will meet people in the next week or month that you come in contact with for a variety of different reasons that before you probably wouldn't even remember their name the next day, but now you have a good reason to add them to a very special list that's one of your category lists for your business. And as you can see, as you count through there are a number of different lists. And so what you do from there is you start. You take list number 1, which is usually the family. You want to invite your family to look at your business. It's kind of like having a grand opening. You pick a night or 2 nights out, and you invite everybody from the same category. Why? Because they know each other. Now, you can go about this one of 2 ways. The first person that I call, and I call this finessing the list, I look at the list and I ask myself, or I would ask this new person if I was starting a new person, which is the most influential person on this list? Let's put an asterisk, let's put a star next to that person. Who's the most influential? Because I'm going to call that person first. And I'm going to help the person with the phone call. Why? Because if the most influential person on the list of people who know each other is interested in the business, if you cannot get those individuals to come to a meeting, they can. For example, say your list was a family list. Family usually always ran things by him before they did major decisions and so forth. And when there was family events, they're always over at Uncle Ian's house. And so you call Uncle Ian up and you say, Uncle Ian, if I found a way that the whole family could make some really significant money, would you want me to tell you about it? And because he's in the position of influence and everybody runs by everything anyway, he says yes. He might ask a question. What I thought is maybe tomorrow night we could sit down, the three of us, and have a cup of coffee. And we can explain, and if you have any questions, we can answer them, and we can take it from there, whichever direction you think you would want to go. Okay? Kind of a laid back, casual, and talking to the most influential person. What if he says, no, I'm not interested in seeing anything? You say, great, okay? Then you go to the next most influential person and invite them to sit down in a one-on-one before you invite the family. Now, when you invite the family, you just go through every family member, and remember that the more you tell them on the phone, the more they have to talk about when they're discussing this. Because you can get off the phone with one family member and they'll call another family member. Did you get a call from Bert? He just called up and it was really strange. He had this idea and he wants us to get together. Did he invite you? Yeah. And what did he say to you? Well, he said this, this, and this. He said, well, he said this, 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 and this. And they start putting this picture together that is totally distorted. So here is how I handle my phone call. Number one, I'm always in a hurry. I ask them, the first question I say, is this a bad time for you? Whether they say yes or no, you say, well, I'm in a hurry, but I have a quick question for you. Are you doing anything tomorrow night? Now, tomorrow night is the night of the meeting. I don't like to book too far in advance. Here's the reason why. Because if I'm talking to them tomorrow night, most likely if that night is already has something that they're going to do, it's already done. I mean, it's already, they were planning on doing this or they're planning on doing that. So if they already plan it, then I can ask them if they can reschedule or cancel it. And if they say no, I'll say I'll call you back. But if I call them a week or 2 weeks in advance, now I've scheduled with them, but now everything else that comes up is being compared to the unknown me. And so the chances of them forgetting or being less curious about it, because that's what I'm trying to do in the phone call, is set an appointment. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to give them a proposal over the telephone. That's like a realtor calling you up and saying, hey, I'd like for me to describe your dream home to you over the phone. No, what do they say? Let's set an appointment. I want to show you something. Nobody ever gets a business proposal. Any business that's worth any kind of investment or of time or money at all requires a sit down and look at. How many of you have put together a jigsaw puzzle? All right, when you take all the pieces out. If I pick up one piece of the puzzle, can you tell me what the puzzle looks like? No, it could be blue. That could be a blue dress, blue sky, blue water, blue, who knows? So if I go and I say, here, let me tell you this little bit. And they go, oh yeah, it's a dress. No. It's a lake. No. It's a blue building. No. And see, they're guessing. And they're getting all of these visions in their mind of everything that they think it might be. It is the blue in the feather of a peacock. They would have never guessed that. Well, they would never guess that you're about to offer them the greatest opportunity that exists in the world today. You. I mean, who are you that could offer the greatest opportunity in the world today? And you're going to try to describe it on the phone in 60 seconds or less? Don't do that. Call them. Greet them. Hi, John, this is Bert. Let them know that you're in a hurry. Is this a good time for you? Is this a bad time for you? You can ask it either way. Clear the night. What are you doing tomorrow night? Can you cancel it or change it if they've got plans? If they say no, end the phone call. I've got something very important I want to talk to you about. I'll call you back. Now you've created curiosity. Do you know what? There will actually be people that have something they cannot change for tomorrow night. But because you ended the conversation and said, I'll call you another time, it's important, I'll talk to you later, they will call, rearrange that schedule, call you back and say, I freed the night. But as soon as you start trying to give them bits and pieces to interest them, you're not going to pique their interest. You're going to make them skeptical and reinforce that they don't want to get with you tomorrow night. Now, if they say they're free, then you say, is there any reason why we couldn't get together? Why is that? Because sometimes people do have the night free, but there's a reason why they have a night free. They're celebrating their anniversary. They're going to stay at home and have a quiet dinner, or something like that. No, they aren't leaving the house. No, they don't have an appointment, but yes, they are busy. So I always make sure that they, and when I say they, if there's a husband and wife, if there's a partnership there, I want to make sure that I have opportunity to talk to both of them at the same time. If it's a meeting at my house, I've asked them which would be better, Tuesday or Thursday at that point. And so then I reconfirm and I'll say, okay, so I can count on you being there right on time at 8 o'clock. I'm reconfirming what they just said. Yes, we are free and available. Yes, we can come over, okay? And then I never, now hear this because this is very important, I never thank them at that point. Sometimes because we think they're doing us a favor for coming over, we're going, you can come over. Wow, thank you. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And they go, why are you thanking me? You are offering me something. Make sure you understand, you are offering the greatest opportunity that exists in the world today. So don't thank them for giving you the chance to offer it to them. Because that sets an attitude where they're doing you a favor to come over, and they get home from work and they're a little bit tired and say, you know what, I'm too tired to go over there tonight. I'll find out what this is later. But if you've created a curiosity, if you created an anticipation, and you have told them nothing other than it's a business concept or an income opportunity, then what you've done is you have brought them to the point of which they are grateful that you called them. But if you reverse that attitude, you're going to have less people that will be willing to take the night to come over to see what's going to benefit you. So when I'm starting a person out and I'm sitting down with them, I want to rehearse this. And I'm going to do some role playing with them. I said, okay, you call me up. You tell me you're in a hurry, say, is this a bad time? I'll say, no, it's not a bad time. Now, I'll do that for about 2 or 3 phone calls. In practice, then I'm going to get a little bit tougher. Hey, is this a bad time for you? Yeah, it is. What are you doing? What? What do you want? What? And I like for the new business owner willing to learn with a list of names and willing to make change to have to get out of it, because the people we're calling don't have a script. And they might be busy, and this might not be the right time because we didn't call them during a commercial. So I got to help them through the different objections that they can get on the phone so that they can practice it. So I can make it so bad that no matter who they talk to, it's going to be better. But I don't want to do that in the first role play because we might not get to a second role play. I want them to just kind of ease in and feel more confident in the steps. Greet them, let them know you're busy, clear the night, make sure they're available, make the proposal. Hey, I've got a business idea I want to run by you. Hey, if I found a way for you to be able to buy that home you've been talking about buying, would it be worth an hour of your time? Or would you want me to tell you about it? That's a causal relationship. If I found a way to make some really good money, would you want me to tell you about it? There's a lot of good proposal statements that you can make. And the person who works with you will give you the ones that they know. You can listen to a series of different talks that are done, that are on CD and cassette tape. There are even books that actually will talk about how to give a 1-sentence proposal. And all I want to do is make an offer. If I had something, would you want me to tell you about it? Do you ever take a look at business ideas? Hey, I've got a way for you to be able to do this. Can you be over the house at 8 o'clock? Okay, in other words, all you do is proposal, reconfirm that, and get off the phone without saying thank you. And you have made an invitation. All right? Now, if you give them the opportunity to ask a question, they will ask a question. Now, They can ask you questions. Does this involve selling? How much of an investment? Is this Amway? There's a whole series of questions that you can get. Now, here's what I have found over the years. If I answer one question, I'm going to answer the next question and the next question, because what they're going to try to do is take maybe 2 or 3 pieces of the puzzle, put it together and go, blue sky, nope, sorry, I'm not interested. So what I've got to do is I've got to make them curious and be able to be polite without having to answer a lot of questions that's going to lead So when they ask a question, I usually will say, that's a really good question. We're going to cover that tomorrow night. I don't say, I can't answer your question, because when you say that, you're saying, I can't answer the question because you are too stupid. Or I'm too stupid. Or, where do you go with I can't? Okay, you just say, that is a really good question. That's one of the questions we're going to answer tomorrow night. Right? If this is Amway, I don't want anything to do with it. Now, you can go one of 2 ways with that. You can go with, what do you know about Amway? Because what you want to draw from them is, what preconceived idea do they have, and is it accurate? Now, what you'll find when you do that, if you're good and have good posture, another way of saying that is, it Amway? Yes. Have you already registered? No. You're kidding. Good. You need to be there at 8 o'clock. I take a very positive stance. Now, that's easy to say and can be done by the person who has good self-confidence. Or you can say, what do you know about it? Well, it's this and that, and I heard this, or I read this, and all that kind of stuff that people throw out. And most of them actually didn't hear it directly from an offer to participate with us in the business or personal experience. They heard it at a party from somebody who heard it from somebody who heard it from somebody. And it's always amazing some of the things that they can come up with that aren't anything close to the greatest opportunity that exists in the world today. Right? Now, the other thing is just to say, I'll tell you what, rather than discuss 10 or 15 things that it might or might not be, why don't you just come over tomorrow night and see? Okay? Now, occasionally, if you don't answer people's questions, then they will say, if you don't answer my question, then I'm not coming over. And I said, fine, I'll catch you sometime next week. I'm just going to go ahead and give your seat to somebody else. Take a posture of, this is your opportunity. These are your rules. This is your business. And yes, they might or might not like it. But let me ask you a question. If you're offering them a chance to be financially free, or you're offering a chance for them to pay off their bills, or you're offering them a chance to be able to buy the home or travel or put their kids through a university, or all the different things that they could do with money and time, and they're trying to make a decision based on 1 or 2 questions, it's not fair to them and it's not fair to you, and you're the one who's doing the offer. So you set the rules in a positive way. My goal is not to insult my next door neighbor, and definitely not deceive my next door neighbor. I mean, sometimes people get curiosity and deception mixed up. Curiosity is when you have a present for your wife and you wrap it and it's got a beautiful bow, and you kind of show that to your wife to let her know that you have a present for your anniversary and you didn't forget this year. Now that's curiosity. I wonder what's in the box. Now, what is deception? Deception is taking and getting a kitchen apron and putting it in a box and telling your wife it's a mink coat. Okay, that's deception. Like, for example, if somebody says to you, is this Amway? And you say no, you're deceiving them, because Amway is definitely part of this deal. How you register. It's who pays you bonus checks. It's who delivers the products to your customers and guarantees it. There is some involvement here, right? Just understand there's a difference between deception and curiosity. I'm not going to go over what it might or might not be. Why don't you come over tomorrow night and see what I've got to offer? Rather than try to guess 5 or 10 things that it could be, why don't you come over tomorrow night and I'll show you the greatest business opportunity in the world today. Now, the person decides, I'm not coming because I am not curious. That's not a problem. They're still there. Now they're more curious. Now they're going to wonder, they're going to ask you questions, and they're going to bug you about it until they admit that they are curious, they do have some interest, and they'll sit down, and you can practice on them later when you learn how to do your presentation. The next step is the actual meeting itself. Let me give you some guidelines. When you're having your grand opening, that's what I call it. It's like if you were going to open a restaurant or you were going to open some kind of business, you would have your family and friends to the business before you open it up to the general public, wouldn't you? It's called a grand opening. You have a grand opening so everybody in the world can see your new business. Well, you have a select group that comes in before the rest of the world. It's to let people know what you're doing. So now, first off, these are the same people that already come to your house. So you don't have to go out and buy furniture or recover your furniture or rearrange your furniture. They've already been there. They know what it looks like. Basically, leave your house like it normally is because they're used to coming over there. Then you want to eliminate distractions. And this is really, really important because we're going to cover a lot of information and there's a whole framework to the presentation that's going to be done. We don't want to lose them in and out of that thought process. We want their full attention for a relatively short period of time. So we've noticed over the years there are some distractions that we can control. For example, one distraction is the television set. Since the meeting usually starts at 8 o'clock, and that's what time we told them to be there, some of them get there a few minutes early, some of them get there right at 8, but the speaker doesn't actually arrive until about 10 or 15 after. Well, then if they're watching a show, usually they start on the hour, and they're into it by the time the speaker gets there, and so we have to drag their minds away from that sitcom to get into the meeting. And if it's a sporting event, we could be there for a couple of hours. So just don't even turn the TV on. You're having guests over, don't use it as a form of entertainment until the speaker gets there. Don't even put it on. Now, another thing that is a distraction, and please understand that I have pets and children. And so when I call them a distraction, I'm saying it in the most loving way, okay? Children are a distraction. And even you say, oh, but my child is so good. And every once in a while, somebody dresses their child up in a business attire, little boy in his little suit, and he's sitting there at 3 years old, and he's being absolutely perfect. And every mother in the room is going, isn't he cute? And we've lost them, okay? All the mothers are marveling at how cute the little kid is. That's a distraction. Get a babysitter. Put them to bed. 8 o'clock for most very young children is a good time to go to bed. If you are going to do a meeting, a husband and wife team, usually if their children are present or somebody has brought their children, which is not unusual, that can happen, then one of the team is going to take them into another room and be the babysitter, if there's no babysitter there. Pets, I love them. They're great. They're distractions, okay? I had a bird one night that was mimicking me. This is you, this is you, this is you, this is you. No, it wasn't quite that bad, but it was along that line. I've had a snake that was crawling around the room, and obviously very beautiful snake. And the ones that weren't screaming were admiring the snake. I had a dog one night that I stepped on by accident and proceeded to jump across every lap in the room. What am I saying? No TV, no pets, no kids, no phone, okay? The world has cell phones today, and it's amazing to me why somebody can't put it on vibrate or turn it off. But we have people that will bring their cell phones, and I always ask them to put it on vibrate or turn it off because it is a distraction. I don't want the whole meeting to stop because their phone rang, and we have all the cute rings today that everybody goes, hey, that's cool, where'd you get that? All right? And I've lost the attention of my prospects. Your phone, your house phone can ring. It could be a neighbor saying, hey, what's all the cars outside because you're having your family over? His turn's tomorrow night. It could be all kinds of different things that can wait. All right? I find that people feel that they have to have the phone on in case something urgent happens. Well, urgency is when the phone rings. Turn it off. Just for an hour. Temperature. Temperature is something, try to keep the room as cool as possible because people have worked all day. This is mid-evening, and there's a tendency that they could get a little drowsy. Freeze them. Let them chatter a little bit as they get excited about this opportunity to warm the room up. And the biggest distraction can be you. You're there. You're excited. Keep your eyes on the board, glued on the board and on the speaker. Do not look side to side for opinion. Because they start looking at you, you start looking at them, and they're going, what? What? Right? You don't want to just look at the speaker. That's where the attention is. That's where we want their attention to be. All right? Now, before the meeting starts, you want to do an introduction. And the introduction is very simple. Hey, I'm glad to have you all here tonight. This is going to be very exciting. It's a positive. I'm welcome. You're going to be fired up. You're going to be excited. This is going to be great. We're going to demonstrate to you the best opportunity available on earth today. And I know I can't do it justice. Successful friend of mine, put both things, very successful. Now, how successful are they? They're more successful than you because they've been in the business at least one day more than you have. So, successful and friend. I trust this person. I'm putting my stamp of approval on them. You're my friends. This person is my friend. Listen to my friend, friends. All right, that's what the introduction is about. It can be quick. It doesn't have to be long and extended. Hey, everybody, I'm really excited you're here. This is going to be great. I would like to introduce you to somebody who's very successful. It's going to explain this tonight. He's a really good friend of mine, Bert. Got to remember their name. It's important. And turn it over. And then you sit down, sit on the edge of your chair, glue your eyes on the speaker, and just smile. Okay? Nod. Nodding is okay. It reinforces everybody in the room. You can nod, you can smile, and believe me, the difference between nervousness and excitement is just the expression on your face. I mean, you can be really intense inside. If you're smiling, they think that tension is excitement, and that's a positive. And so you can be an attribute to the meeting by being attentive, smiling, nodding, and being excited. And that will help your friends see your commitment to the business. When the presentation is over, the presentation is going to be very quick. It's got steps, which I'm not going to go into now, but it basically sets them at ease, talks to them about their needs, gets to know them, talks about the team, talks about the plan, talks about the company, and starts the follow-through process. And in that time, we're going to ask you to come up and give your testimony, what you see in the business, what you see for them, what you see for yourself, all positive, okay? This is not the time to air your doubts. We'll take care of your doubts. We'll make sure everything is clear in your mind. If you have questions, we will be more than glad to answer them. Don't misunderstand me. We want to take care of your doubts, but if you're going to have a meeting and you're going to start a business and you want to tell your friends about the greatest opportunity that exists in the world today, and you start telling them, but I have doubts, you're going to get some confusion. So if you do have questions, let's get them answered beforehand or afterwards, but your statement is, so far, this looks really good, or I'm really excited about this. It's really fantastic that someone would come to my house and help me build a business, and I really think this is going to be great, and I'm willing to put in my energy and help you. And those type of statements will encourage your friends to do the business and to join you on your team. From there, everybody in the room is going to make one of three decisions. I cover in my presentation. We need to know at that point. So in other words, if a person's ready to get started, number one, I'm interested, I'm ready to get started, we are going to send them home with materials. The speaker will bring the materials and hand them out for you. They're actually your materials. Now, you can get them back and hand them back to the speaker. That makes it the speaker's materials again. But if it's your meeting, your prospects, your friends, relatives, your list, and we're loaning materials to them to look at your business, then they're your materials, so you can purchase them, which is a good idea, or you can return them. But if you don't pick them up, you will pay for them. All right? Because the speaker might be traveling in at a distance and will leave you to pick up the materials that have been handed out. The materials are very, very important because a person who is interested is going to go home and is going to start having questions. If they have nothing to look at, nothing to listen to, they are going to start asking others their questions. Okay? They could go to work the next day and say, hey, I took a look at this business last night and they were saying this and telling me that and this, and what do you think? Oh, I don't think it'll work. All right? Which input would you want? Reinforcement to what they've seen or opinions from people who've not seen the business? Obviously, we want to put things in their hands. So we're going to send home with the number ones. We are going to book a time to get back together again with them to get started. We're going to have a meeting to go over register, take a look at the business, and set up their first 2 meetings and make their phone call. So it's going to be a get started night. And that's the second step for number 1. They see the plan. The second night, could be the next night or the night after, is to get started. Get them registered, get their list going, go over their questions, make a phone call or 2, especially to the influentials, and set up their 2 meetings. From there, they'll have their 2 meetings. They want to have those within the next 7 days. So they've seen the plan. 2 days later, they're at their Get Started meeting. Within 7 days, they've had their 2 meetings. Then they have their shopping meeting. And this is when you sit down with them. They've registered. Now you're going to go back and shop with them. We're now going to start a step that a lot of people skip. Instead of sitting down and getting them started in using their own business, why are they going to a grocery store or a store to buy something they can buy from themselves? Because they don't know how to do it. So we help them with their shopping, we help them set up their Ditto, we help them set up getting started in some changeover products. They've already got it, what I call a registration pack or a first night pack that they buy with their registration. Now I'm also going to put together another pack for them of items from other areas of interest and what they were going to buy the next week at the grocery store. We do kind of a checklist. Then from there, we put them into the meeting schedule. And within the next week, they should be at an open, a BBS, a function. It's time for them to start meeting the other members of the team. So that's a number 1, and that cycle just goes right across there. Within 24 hours, a Get Started meeting. Within the next 7 days, there are 2 introductory meetings or one-on-ones. Within the next 24 hours to 48 hours is their shopping meeting, and then within the next 7 days, they are into a meeting schedule so that they're part of the team. Now, that is 14 to 18 days, and that 14 to 18 day period is the most critical part of their business. If we do not go through that process with them and they don't change their buying habits, they don't register, they don't have a meeting, they don't make phone calls, they don't make a list, they don't do anything in that 18 days, the chances of them participating with us in the business drops to about 5%. But they said yes 18 days ago. But in those 18 days, they will drop off almost every single time. So if you have a 1, you have a process that they're going to go through to get them started, overcoming inertia, getting them out of their comfort zone. They said, yes, I want to participate. Let's move them forward, and you have an exact plan. Let's go to number 3. If they're number 3, they're not interested, the immediate thing that I'm going to do is offer them the opportunity to be one of my customers. Now, there's several different things that are happening at this point. You are a PV center. Now, what makes up a PV center? 1 is your own personal usage. Number 2 is your clients, okay? I've offered the business to somebody. They know what I'm doing. They're not interested in participating. They said no. I'm going to offer them an opportunity to try Ditto delivery, to try a PV pathway, which might be Emma Page, it might be Excess Energy Drink, it might be Artistry, it might be Nutrilite, it might be Home Essentials, it might be catalogs. I'm going to offer them. I'm in business and I just opened my store. I don't think it's unusual for me to think that they might want to buy something from me if they're going to buy something from a total stranger. So if you don't ask, you don't get. The next one is your PV pathway. Now, you don't start your business necessarily with a PV pathway. You've got to learn that. It's going to be a little bit more of a trade. You might have been interested and might come in through a PV pathway, and that would be the only way you would start with one. This will develop later, but it is offered, PV pathways are offered to clients. So the combination of these 3 things will put up your PV. Now, if I have a 3, somebody that's not interested, I'm immediately looking towards my PV center, my business. And I'm going to offer them to be one of my personal customers, clients. I'm going to offer them a PV pathway, not maybe today, but in the near future, okay? So if there are 2, I set up a meeting with them within the next 48 hours to get back with them, to re-go through the information, to move them to a 1 or a 3. If you looked at this, here's 1, 2, or 3. When we present the plan, a 1 goes into a get started session within 48 hours, and then into their getting started meetings, and that's going to happen within 7 days. And then within 2 days after that, and even during the meetings this can happen, but no later than 2 days after that, they're going to have their shopping meeting. They're going to shop, and then from there, we're going to put them into the system where they're going to become part of the team. All right? If they are a 3, they're going to become a client. If they are 2, they're going to have a follow-up meeting in which they're either going to be a 1 or a 3. 2s are not the group you want. Some of you are carrying first night cards, and I totally recommend that. If I'm going to hand materials to somebody, I'm going to have them fill out a card, so I know where my materials are, and on the card it's going to say whether they're a 1, 2, or 3. They're going to check that. And sometimes I look and I see 2, and I see people go, oh, all right, they're a 2, okay? That's not good. That means they're not anywhere. They're not a client. They're not a business owner. They're just kind of hanging out there, and we've got to spend time with them to get them off the fence. Sessions. I use a follow-up meeting, and I do it fast. This is not going to linger. Now, sometimes a person says they are a 2 because they don't want to hurt our feelings. Well, I'm your brother, and I'm interested, but I got to think about this. And, so we now have distracted our energy in bringing in and explaining our business to everyone else we know to take the time out for this 2 that is going to be a 2 until we make them make a decision. And I don't care if they're a 3. That's fine. My very first best friend was a 3 immediately, but became my first platinum. So 3s are not bad. 2s are bad. In a positive sense. In other words, they don't want to make a decision because it's uncomfortable. They don't want to close the door. They don't want to open the door. They just want to hang out there. So I give them 1 second meeting to move one of those 2 directions. And otherwise, I tell them they're a 3. At the end of the second meeting, they're either ready to get started or they're a 3. I don't collect 2s. Critical part of your business right there. You've got to know where you're at with your business at all times. Every single person that you have on your list needs to be put into a position where they're making 1 or 3 decisions about doing business with you. And within 48 hours after they've seen the presentation, they are in the process of the 1 or the 3. And business will move a lot faster when you're doing that. If you're just kind of hovering, everybody's going to hover with you. And it's no pressure, no discomfort, no inconvenience, no stress, and no money. All in one package right there. What we're looking for here is results. Now, our goal, mine and yours as a group, would be to present this business to every single breathing person in Australia. Now, while we've had this meeting, there's more people been born in this country than we are going to present the plan to in the next 12 months. So we're kind of running behind here, if you know what I mean. So why are we hovering? Why are we not moving forward and talking to more people and finding out from the people we've offered the greatest opportunity in existence in the world today, why we're not following through to find out, get them started. Now, once we get this habit started, and those basic principles right there of continuing to develop our list, continue to add names to the categories, especially that last one, people we don't know yet, and then going on and learning to invite, practicing. Just the only way you're going to get good at this is to practice and practice and practice and practice and practice. I still practice today. Do I make a mistake every once in a while? Do I over-explain? I'm not clear? Yes, I still occasionally will not get it just right. I've done that when I'm demonstrating to somebody. Here, let me show you. I'll call one of my prospects and I blow it. All right? Practice inviting, getting good at that. At first, you'll have your first 2 meetings. After that, you'll learn the presentation. It's in 4 segments. The interview, which is finding out about them, developing a relationship and finding their needs. Talking about the team and the system, offering them the example of the opportunity and who's behind the opportunity and what's available there and products and so forth. I always like to demonstrate 4 or 5 products. I have refreshments at my meetings. Every one of the refreshments at my meetings are from the business. You like that? That's ours. You like that? That's ours. Right? I chop up little protein bars and everybody's got a little bite. And you say, well, they only get a little bite? Hey, I didn't invite them to dinner. I just want them to taste this and have an energy drink and then go home. When I do a one-on-one, same thing. I always pop a can. I mean, you want people to taste, you want people to touch a product. Okay? They have a vision. They start thinking in possibility thinking. Could so-and-so could do this? Can I sell this over here? And they're doing possibilities. Let them try a couple products. Taste it. Go home. Think about it. right? And you'll find that they'll duplicate that. And guess what? If you are serving products from your business, when they have their meetings, they will serve products from their business, and you are increasing your PV just in usage. I mean, if you think about it, if you have, say in your organization, you have 1,000 people, and they have a meeting on Monday night, and they have 3 people each meeting, you've just consumed 3,000 cans of excess, right? Now, if you hold something up and show it to them, you consume nothing. Something that is going to be used up and bought again, and then used at every meeting. Not only are you going to have a lot of volume created at meetings, you're going to have a lot of customers that are going to develop right away because they have exposure to a unique item that they would like. And that's going to build your business. The object of your business is to get it from where it is, which is the greatest kept secret in the world, to letting people know you are in business. And so some of those people are going to participate with you and run with you and be part of your team and part of your community. And some of those people are not going to be part of your immediate team, but will become part of your retail community. And some of the people are just going to hide in the bushes and watch. But at least they're in the bushes watching. So as you perform, they can see the opportunity, and guess what? They just might change their minds and either become a customer or join you on your team, become a business owner. And then, of course, as you develop this and you put one foot in front of the other and you commit time and you give up some things temporarily so that you can build your business, then you are going to see the results of that input. And that results is going to be a better lifestyle, dreams coming true. You'll start checking things off that list of 100. And as you check those things off and you find out there is a faster car, there is a bigger home, there is a place in the world you haven't been, you can add that on, but you're still checking things off. You might check off a new battery for your car, which is the first thing I checked off. I mean, I was a big dreamer. Most people think of a new car. I just thought of getting my car started. And checking things off and seeing yourself change, your attitude changing, your lifestyle changing, people looking at you and you go to work and they go, "What are you on? What do you mean? You're smiling all the time and you're scaring me." And you're thinking, "I'm out of here." Here you have an opportunity through the process of duplication with an ongoing transferable income that you can literally take and build your financial future in a relatively short period of time that can sustain you for the rest of your life, that can be transferred to your spouse or to your children and on to their children as an ongoing family entity, a part of your estate that will touch the lives of your family and the families around you. Thank you. I'll see you later.